as much as we needed.
You had to put your house up to mortgage that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it was all in. Skin was in the game. I was betting the ranch.
We needed to buy more computers for our developers, and a PC at that time cost $25,000. We didn't have $75,000 extra to buy those computers. So there were 10 banks in Minnesota, and I went to 8 of them and said, could I borrow $75,000? I had no collateral. We were operating out of my apartment. I had a car loan and student loans. So I was a collateral risk. By bank 8, I knew exactly when the guy was gonna say no. He would lower his head and the words no would come out. So at bank number 9, I had one bank left in this whole venue. The banker started lowering his head and I burst into tears. I walked out of that bank with a loan for $75,000 just so I would stop crying. But you don't have to cry for money, but you're going to have to find resources you don't have.
When I went to MinuteClinic, as I said, I was the sole support of my family. And I was told that I would have this X salary, which was a significant cut from my corporate salary, but I was prepared to do that. I knew there was equity possibility, but I wasn't really thinking about that at the time. I just was fascinated with the idea of taking this company to its full potential. There was a little cash flow problem, and I wouldn't get paid to the 30th of the month. Started on the 1st. The 30th of the month came, and oops, that money they thought was coming in did not appear.
Interesting.
So that was a Friday, and I called an emergency board meeting for Monday morning because we were $1.5 million in debt. And I prepared the plan to gracefully shut down the company. However, on Sunday afternoon, so I decided that Sunday afternoon to have a plan B. What if the board would let us hang in there without money? And they accepted that plan, and that included me taking 0 salary, borrowing from the bank. The 3 people at corporate would take no salary for the summer. We would pay our nurses, and we would get some convertible debt and do that. So that was really a defining moment.
So what I had to do was at Las Vegas, I had to convince our traditional, tried and true, stable audio component and video manufacturers that they needed to supply the capital that I needed to buy product from other people. That was a tall sale. There were a lot of people in our company, and even those closest to me, that said, Dick, we think you're smoking something. We think you're not thinking clearly. You're going to go to our key suppliers and you're going to tell them that we're going to sell your product and take the proceeds and pay somebody else. I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, it was all in. Skin was in the game. I was betting the ranch. So it was bet the ranch, put it all in. Everything was on the table. And they bought it. Even Brad and Alan and many of the others who were very close to me scratched their head and said, I can't believe this. But here's a new lease on life.
First and foremost, we're trying to do something for a reason, and make a profit.
Right.
And I think that that's inspiring to a lot of people.
Yes.
And you'll see a lot of that. There's the public benefit corporation idea. There are a lot of for-profits out there that are saying, hey, we don't need a special tax status, and we don't need to give people a deduction for contributions.
Right.
We're a for-profit. We're making money. But we're going to do it for a reason, and I think that blending place is very powerful.
Yes.
And I think we'll start to see more and more companies doing that really well and making the world, hopefully better.
We never set up the company designed to sell to a particular company. We just knew, let's build something valuable. Let's build something meaningful. Something we want to own for generations. And if we do that the right way, it'll be valuable to other people too. But the fact that I still feel that way, I still feel like this is something I believe in, I want, I could be proud to own 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now.
As a venture capitalist today, we have to fund companies in big markets because they're not ever as pure as you think, and competitors do zoom into big opportunities. If you want to build a small business, you might pick a smaller market, but markets come first. It's not worth building a product unless you know that there is an opportunity. And then what are the economics of getting to the customer?
I think it's really important for an entrepreneur to do homework on the chemistry between him or herself and the venture capitalist who has an interest in the company.
Okay.
Venture capitalists are very diverse people, and the intensity of a startup, both for the venture capitalist who's putting other people's money at risk, as well as for the executive who has to please the venture capitalist, but at the same time launch and execute a business, requires an open channel of communication and a mutual trust that just will not exist with every combination of entrepreneurs and venture capitalists.
When I went to subsequent meetings, I had a little ABBA tape I would play in my car, and it was the song Take a Chance on Me. And I used to sit outside those large buildings and listen to that song, Take a Chance on Me. And because that's what I was asking people to do. And I look for that entrepreneur to be in their head saying, take a risk with me. You can take that risk with me.
It was very difficult during that time frame to ignore the operational problems with the company. We had to close all but 3 or 4 clinics during that time frame, and even those 3 or 4 clinics were only open some of the time because we didn't have the adequate staffing model. We had so many operational problems, and I absolutely had to ignore them. I had to be relentlessly focused on getting financing, because if I didn't get financing, the operational problems didn't matter.
Most of the angel investors that support this business are in it because of our mission.
Interesting.
Not just because they're expecting exponential returns.
Yes.
And those investors that do expect exponential returns aren't interested in Yoxo.
I think it's important to not take money from anyone. We were
From just anyone?
From just anyone. We were on fumes for money. We were desperate. I wasn't getting paid. We still turned away 2 different investment firms because their vision for the company was not aligned with ours, or because some of their requests for a board seat or other things were not aligned. And that was really important to do that. The other I encourage entrepreneurs to do is to make sure their boards are not solely comprised of investors.
Okay.
It's so important to have at least 1, if not 2, people on the board who've actually run a company.